Hello and welcome to Portfolio Pulse, the money podcast for medical professionals and entrepreneurs hoping to learn more about achieving financial wellness, accumulating wealth, and building the life they deserve. As you know, in each episode, we either interview a purpose-driven leader or medical professional that's not only building a business, but giving back to the community as well, or we present a subject in finance that's relevant today. Our listeners are interested in all things finance and business ownership. So I think that you'll be extremely interested in our guest today, Dustin Heiner. He is successfully unemployed. All right. So what do I mean by that? So Dustin, he is the founder of Master Passive Income and successfully unemployed. He is a real estate rental property investor who was able to make enough passive income from his business to quit his job when he was 37 years old. So with his podcast, books, courses, and coaching, he now helps other people quit their job by investing in real estate rental properties to live their dreams life. So Dustin, you're a real estate investing expert. You're a founder of these businesses. What got you excited about doing this stuff?
Hey, Stephen. Yeah, thanks so much for having me on the show.
Sure.
What got me excited was basically having financial freedom, not having to work for somebody else. That's why I love the term successfully unemployed. I'm not unemployable because I could work for, like, if Warren Buffett wanted me to work for him, I would pay him to work for him, because not just make money or do it for free. I would pay him because I would learn so much. All the networking I would get, and just being around him, I'll be, getting a lot of good stuff. So, but yeah, I wanted to basically have financial freedom so that I can control my life.
Hey, why not, right? I mean, we're all about financial freedom in the planning world. So I'm glad that you used your expertise, your knowledge, and your passion really to go out and find something that worked for you and your family. And now you want to teach others how to do it. So you've got two different types of businesses here. One is the Master Passive Income. And is successfully unemployed a separate business in its own, or is that kind of like your process for others?
It's a passion project of mine. I love real estate investing. That's how I became successfully unemployed. But also there are so many other ways to do it. And I thought, you know what? I just want to interview fantastic people who found other ways to do it, because my way is not the only way. And so that's why I created Successfully Unemployed. It's another podcast that I have. But yeah, Master Passive Income is where I coach, show people how to invest in rental properties. And yeah, but I got to actually have a story that I want to share about how I got catapulted into investing. Do you mind if I share that?
Absolutely. Love to hear it.
So I'll jump to the end, and then I'll go back to the beginning. So when I was 37 years old, like you said, Stephen, I quit my job. I had 30 plus rental properties, each making me a minimum of $250 a month in passive income. That's the minimum. And I realized, man, even though I'm making $75,000 a year at this job, I'm losing money. Let me go ahead and quit. So I'll go back to the beginning. So I've always been entrepreneurial in my life, entrepreneurial, starting businesses, that type of idea. Even at 13 years old, I had a newspaper delivery route where I would, throw papers at 5 a.m, bang them on garage doors. And I had a graphic and website design company, skateboard manufacturing business. I even had a convenience store and a pizzeria, just starting them from scratch. And all the while, though, I'm taught, just like everybody, that we need to go to school, get a good job. We need to then go to college, get good grades, go to school, get good grades, go to college, get good grades, get in thousands and thousands of dollars in debt, then take that piece of paper after you get good grades and take it to somebody and hopefully get a career, work 40 plus years of your life, and then retire on what you have left over. And I thought that might not be the best route, but I still went that route. So I was working a regular IT job or a technology job in one of the counties in California, a regular 9 to 5, sit down desk job. And over the time, I started, after starting businesses, and at the same time, I bought 1 or 2 rental properties. And I always knew, I was like, man, real estate is the way to go, but life gets in the way. I just kept letting things pass by. And my wife and I started having children, 1, 2, 3, and 4 children. By the time my wife had her 4th child, I got to tell you the story. She had her 4th child, and I went on paternity leave. Paternity leave is where the dad stays home with the mom, changes poopy diapers and all that good stuff, bonds with the baby. And then I went back to work. And then that week that I get back to work on a Friday at 3:30 in the afternoon, I get a call from my boss's secretary, the top boss. And she says, Dustin, would you please come to the boss's office? And I said, sure. And I hung up the phone. I paused for a second. I thought, why would they be calling me to the office? This isn't normal. And as I'm sitting there, I realized about 2 months prior, there were some rumors or some rumblings going on that there could potentially be layoffs in the county. And I immediately shook that off. Like, man, I have 12, 13 years of seniority. There's no way it's going to happen. My bosses love me. I'm totally fine. So I get up and I walk down the hallway. Now, Stephen, this hallway wasn't very long. Well, in fact, it was actually kind of short, but every single step that I took, it felt like the hallway got longer and longer and longer. And every step felt like my feet became lead bricks. And I started feeling the weight of everything because I could potentially be losing my job. Well, I get through the hallway and I turn the corner and I see my boss's door. His door is closed and his secretary, she's looking at me and sheepishly, she grins at me and says, Dustin, would you please have a seat? And she's trying to console me with her eyes because she knows everything about what's going on. I know nothing about what's going on. Well, I go and sit down in that chair. And as I'm sitting there, I start thinking about my life and my goodness, if I get laid off, was all this time working this job, is that a waste of my life doing all this? And then I started thinking, if I don't have a job, how am I going to provide for my family? Does that make me a failure as a father? Does it make me a failure as a husband, as a man trying to take care of his family? Well, as I'm sitting there, my hands get all clammy. My forehead gets all sweaty because the nervousness and the anxiousness and the weight is just raining down on me. Well, the door to my boss's office opens up. Out walks a lady with a piece of paper in her hands, a coworker of mine, and she is noticeably distraught, noticeably upset. She's not necessarily crying, but you can tell her world has absolutely been rocked. She passes by me and my boss says, Dustin, would you please come to the office? And so I get up and I go into his office and I get laid off. And remember, this is the government. Nobody gets fired or laid off from the government, but I did. So I took that layoff notice and I walked back down that short hallway and I go and sit in my chair and I realized two things sitting there right then and there. I realized two things. Number one, I need to get another job. I need to be able to provide for my family. So I was really, really blessed, praise the Lord, to be able to find another job in the same county, a different department, sheriff's department, great county department, started working there. And so check, I got that one done. But sitting in that chair, I realized the second thing, I need to make sure that this never, ever happens to me again. And at the same time, I need to make sure nobody has the ability to take away my ability to feed my family. So right then and there, I realized that whenever anybody would ask me the question, Dustin, what is it that you do? I would immediately answer, oh, I do IT work, technology work for the county. I'm basically projecting my value in myself is in my job. My value doesn't come from my job. It comes from my God, from myself, and from my family. And as I'm sitting there, I'm realizing that I've always wanted to be an investor. This is the time. I will tell everybody now, and whenever they ask that question, I'm going to say, I am an investor. It may so happen that 100% of my money comes from my job. That's now my part-time job. I am a full-time investor. And everybody needs to realize this. Your value is so much more than anybody could ever pay you. And this is how you'll know. Your boss is only paying you just enough to keep you working without quitting, but not so much money that takes money out of their pocket. So I'll fast forward the story. I went to this new county department, worked out really, really well there, bought property after property after property, making me $250 or more from every single property. After 30 plus properties, I realized, my goodness, I'm going to quit. So round out the story by saying, I went to my new boss and I said, hey boss, I'm laying you off. I'm giving you a 2 weeks notice, jokingly, but I'm like, I'm done. And he says, Dustin, what are you going to be doing? I said, I don't have to do anything. I have real estate and I don't do a thing and it makes me money. So round out the story by sharing, I walked to my car the very, very last time. I did this walk 1,000 times. It's a 1.5 mile walk because it was downtown. I was too cheap to pay for parking. And if you contrast that to the walk that I went when I got laid off down the hallway, where my feet became lead bricks, this last walk, I felt like I was walking on clouds because I knew I would never, ever need another job again. And that's what catapulted me into real estate investing. And now looking back, I'm blessed. That was the best thing that ever could happen to me.
And what a story. I mean, as we can tell, there's no one right way to do something, right? So you felt the experience of getting laid off. A lot of people may be listening right now or know somebody that has experienced that before. It's not a great feeling at all. Plus the weight in the chair, like that must've been excruciating trying to figure out what's about to happen to me. And then it was just like proof once that girl came out, you're like, oh no, I'm done. Right.
Yep.
Though, because of the time of the call, Friday at 3:30, I knew right away what was going to happen because they always lay people
Seriously.
off on a Friday.
Yep.
So you don't come up and like shoot up the office, or whatever.
Exactly.
But hey, it was probably one of the best things that could have happened to you, right?
I wouldn't be sitting here today if it wasn't for that. I know that because life just gets in the way. It's just what happens. And goals, unless they're really firmly solidified in your brain, they kind of slip. And so for me, that was it. Because I realized I got 4 kids. I need to make sure that they're fed. And I need to make sure that I can't have or that nobody's going to have the ability to stop me from feeding them.
I had this similar experience. I only had one child at the time, but I was in banking for close to 10 years, in different various retail roles. I've managed branches, I've done wealth management, all those things. My first daughter was born. I just looked at her, I was like, I can't do banking anymore. Like I've got to be able to support this person and my family for as long as I can and have control over it also,
Absolutely.
So, control is one of the biggest things you can personally take care of yourself. If you don't have that control, how do you get it? You have to.
And a lot of people also think that, oh man, investing in real estate is risky. I'm like, what's risky is working for somebody and giving them the ability to stop you from making money. And that's risky. I mean, like I said, I worked for the government. That is so hard to not get a job or get laid off, get fired or whatever from the government. Yeah. And if it happened to me, it can happen to literally anybody. So I find it's more risky to not invest in real estate because like I said, I'm blessed to be here, but I'm living proof that it actually can work. And we know for hundreds of years, people have been buying real estate and investing in it. In fact, the wealthy keep their money in real estate. And what I do is I invest for passive income. Now, a lot of people talk about appreciation. Appreciation is great, but I look to my kids. I can't give my job to the kids. Anybody can't give their job to their kids. I call a job, it's an acronym for just over broke. It's a JOB. And you can't give that to your kids. But what you can do is give your real estate to your kids. Any business that you create that's your own, you can give that to your kids. Any money that you make outside of your job, that'll eventually go away. You want to give them lasting assets, passive income producing assets that make them money. And like I said, for me, in order to quit my job, I realized if I made $4,200 a month in whatever way, that's my expenses. If I was like, just cover my expenses, I should be fine. And so what I realized, $250 a month for one property, that is $3,000 a year in passive income without working. 10 properties is $2,500 a month, $30,000 a year without working. 20 properties is $5,000 a month, $60,000 a year without working. And I just realized if I just keep scaling it from here, my goodness, I'll be able to quit my job. And I started investing back in 2006, before the crash in 2008. And even though lots of people, like lots and lots and lots of investors, maybe 90% of investors went bankrupt because they were investing the wrong way, I didn't. My money kept going up because I didn't invest for appreciation. I invest for passive income. So whether the market went up, the market went down, or the market went sideways, I still kept making money because it's the passive income that I make. And now, fast forward to now, I'm making double or triple in rent what it was when I first started buying houses back in 2006. So my money just keeps going up. And then one quick last thing I'll share is I refinance the property. I don't sell them. People ask when I'm doing coaching, they say, hey, Dustin, should I sell this house? Because if I sell it, then I could take that money to buy more houses and get more properties. I said, why would you do that? If you sell it, you don't have any more. You can't make any more passive income. Why not refinance that property, take out a tax-free loan? Government does tax loans, tax-free loan, use that. You still have the house, take that equity, buy your other house. That new house is going to pay off that increase in mortgage. And you have this new house. Once that's all paid off, you can continually do it over and over again. So there's so many great ways to invest in real estate.
I agree. And because this is the finance podcast, we want to know different ways that we can make money. We can accrue interest. We can make passive income, all these different things that you're talking about. Just a quick disclaimer. I'm not saying you should do any of these things. I'm not telling you to do these things. I'm saying you should consider some of these options, right? So
I'm telling everybody, and I don't have the credentials.
Right. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah. I'm saying everybody needs to. I mean, I'm blessed to be able to get on podcasts and talk to great people like you, Stephen. And just literally go to the gym in the morning, hang out with
Mhm.
my family. We went skiing on Monday and Tuesday, the middle of the week. And it's not like real estate's fantastic. Don't get me wrong,
Sure.
but it's what affords me to do with my life. I literally don't have to work for other people. Now, what I do now is I focus on 40 plus hours a week back in my life. I build more businesses. I buy more real estate. I use that time to do other things. I'll give you an example of one that I'm really doing right now is I'm creating a real estate investor conference. It's literally a whole nother company that I'm creating after doing my own podcast and YouTube channel, coaching people for, I don't know, 5, 6 years now. I have so many friends who are also doing the same thing, coaching people how to invest in real estate. And so I called them all up and I said, hey, I want to do this. I want to create an event where we bring all of our people together. Are you in? Fast forward to now, 27 speakers, friends of mine that are influencers themselves that actually do this investing, everything from multifamily to Airbnb to rental properties and land investing. And we're building a conference. Now I'm really blessed. We're over the break even part. It's called Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference, and it's in March. And it's now going to be a yearly conference because I'm actually might make money on this first conference, which is great. But if you think about it, this is a business that I'm creating that I can do over and over again. And I'm already hiring people to run that business. Now, when you're investing in a stock, you're investing, don't get me wrong, it's good, but you're investing in somebody else's company. You have no control over that company. Even if you have some shares that you can vote, that's so little control. I love owning my businesses so I can control them. And in the future, I'm literally going to give these businesses to my kids. So I invest for passive income. I get people to do work in the business. And now because I have 40 hours of my week back in my life, I can do all these great things. And that's what great thing about creating a river of income. People talk about streams of income. Those are great. Don't get me wrong. I love streams of income, but all the streams for me flow into my river of income. So all the money I make goes right back into real estate because that's where I make my money.
Colloquialisms that you're using. That's awesome. It's a river of income. I'm a big believer in reinvesting in your own business because that's an equity. No one else knows that business like you do. You can control the growth of that business. Obviously, we want diversification, have multiple assets. You got your businesses, you've got your real estate. I'm sure you got some retirement funds somewhere, right? So all these things work together.
No, I don't.
The
retirement funds. I'll give you now. This is for me. And there's different options. For me, I cash it all out because I realize even with the penalties, I make so much more money in real estate. Now, there are ways to mitigate, the loss. Like if you're going to use, like say you have $100,000 out, don't take it all at once. I did. I just cash it all out. Like I'm done with that. I'm putting it into real estate. But what you can do, let's say you found a good property you want to buy, take out that little portion for that down payment at a time instead of big $100,000 amount. You could also do self-directed, all that sort of stuff. But I cashed it all out because I realized, my goodness, and here's the great thing, Stephen, I make money 6 different ways when I invest in real estate. I quickly go over them. Number 1 is passive income. Already talked about that. You calculate all your expenses. You make sure your income is over that by $250 or more. That difference is your passive income. Next one is equity capture. When I buy the house, I am an investor, so I buy it for lower than it's worth. I keep putting in offers until I get a property that I can capture equity. Let's say it's worth $120,000. I buy it for $100,000, captured $20,000 in equity. Another way is market appreciation. We know just over time markets go up. It's just what's going to happen with inflation and everything. Then I also have forced appreciation. I fix it up. I buy a house that doesn't look very good. I fix it up, put $5,000 into it. Hopefully it goes up $10,000, $15,000 more. That's forced appreciation. Another one, tax benefits. I know you definitely understand this. I love all the tax benefits of real estate. If anybody, like if doctors, lawyers, or anybody has a lot of money, if they have never figured out depreciation on their taxes, my goodness, you're gonna blow your mind on how much money you can save in tax depreciation. The last one I absolutely love. It's mortgage buy down. If I buy a house, let's say, I'll give you a quick example. If I buy a house with the FHA loan, that's 3.5% down. 3.5% is the FHA loan. I live in the house for a year, then move out and then rent it out. If I buy a house, just round easy numbers, $100,000 to buy the house. I put in $3,500 to buy as a down payment. I still owe $96,500 plus interest. Well, as I move out, I don't pay that. My tenants pay that. They paid down that mortgage and interest. And the last thing I'll share, so that's the 6 ways, but I'll quickly share. I don't pay my taxes on my properties or any of my properties. I don't pay my mortgage. I don't pay my property manager. I don't pay for repairs. I don't pay for any of that stuff, even insurance. I don't pay that. My tenants pay for all that. Now, it so happens that the money runs through me and out to them, but I don't have to get a job. to pay for my taxes or my property manager. Because a lot of my students, they're like, man, Dustin, I have this property, but I can't afford a property manager. Like, well, when we're going to buy our next property, we're going to account for that expense before we buy the property. So we don't even have to think about it. It's already put in the budget, and we're not going to buy it unless we can. So all that to say, what we do is we make sure we make passive income over our expenses, and that's what we live on.
Awesome. Okay. So you're not always, looks like, well, first off, where are you located? So people know.
I live in Phoenix.
Phoenix, Arizona. Is the conference going to be near you?
It is actually. Yeah, I didn't want to fly anywhere for the conference. I was like, Phoenix is great. It's beautiful in winter. It's March 10th through the 12th. So it's beautiful here. So it's going to be in downtown Phoenix.
I have to come to that. I love Phoenix.
Yeah. It's REWBCON is for short, Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference, and REWBCON.com, REWBCON.com. Like I said, I have 27 speakers, 10 sponsors, already have almost 200 tickets sold. And this is the first conference. And people are so pumped because, here's the great thing about this, Stephen, you'll definitely appreciate this.
Okay.
If you go to any other conference, like I 10X conference, you go to like Grant Cardone's conference, every session is literally a sales pitch. They'll say, okay, here, hype. And then now run to the back. We're only going to take the first 1,000 people. We're going to cut the price in half from $100,000 to $50,000 on all your credit cards. That's what it is. It's a sales pitch. It's horrible. In my opinion, I don't like going to those. This REWBCON is going to be a no sales pitch conference. It's literally us, good investors who literally have audiences that love to share, givers, not takers, come together and literally just teach how to do this investing, everything from like multifamily, single family to land investing, all that sort of stuff. I'm really blessed that it's working out. My goal is to get to where I help 1,000 people to invest in real estate, because I'm so convinced, obviously my life is for me, evidence for me that it works for me, and it can work for everybody. And you know what's interesting though? I can teach anybody how to invest in real estate. I literally can show them step by step, literally give them a process. I have students quitting their jobs all the time because I've showed them how to do it and build their business. But getting them over that hurdle so that they realize that they can do it, that they should do it, and then they must do it because their job's not guaranteed. That takes all the work in the world. Like hopefully my story of me getting laid off is help catalyst to get other people to realize, man, I really need to do it.
Can, should, and must. Yeah, those are some great action words to use, And I will say, like, because you're offering value at this conference, it's not a sales pitch. You don't want people to feel guilt about putting their money into you, right? You're controlling what we call a buying process versus a sales process. They're going to come to you regardless, but let them come to you under their own circumstances and pretenses. And then that way you've got a lifer when you finally get them sign on.
That's a fantastic point. And give you an example how I know in my life that works. I have my podcast called the Master Passive Income Podcast. It's literally just me. I rarely do interviews. I literally just coach and teach this on the podcast. And the more content that I give, because remember, like I said, I could teach anybody, but it takes that much content for them to realize that they can do it. Once they start listening, then if they don't like my voice, if they, oh man, Dustin, he's irritating, they turn it off, which is fine. I'm not going to waste their time. But the people that stick around, that listen, that are educated, that they take action, great. I've had people take action just for my podcast, but there are people that say, you know what? I like the way Dustin says it. I want to be coached by him. I want him to show me, and they come and find me. I'm not pushy. I'm not saying, hey, go buy now. I'm just saying I have this to offer. But I found in doing that, it's so much better. The types of people that are coming to me are so thankful that I'm literally helping them. Actually, here's what's really interesting. I do group coaching as well. So the group coaching, I get people on the call thanking me for my time. They're basically thanking me that I allowed them to pay me to teach them how to do this. It's a blessing. Now, I would say, like, people also kind of say, well, if you're a rich real estate investor, why don't you do it for free? I'm like, well, here's the thought. If you're a tile, like you lay tile for a living, and I come to you and say, hey, can you do it for free? Like, you say, no, I'm not going to do that. Plus I have a wife and I have kids, and my wife's going to say, if you're not going to make money, just don't do it. Just come hang out with us. Like, be a family. So all that to say, it's so great when I have people, they realize that investing is right for them. And then I'm blessed to be there. And like you said, I'm not trying to sell them something. They're going to buy it because they want to be a part of it.
Also, it's, if people don't invest their own money into the process, they're going to feel less connected to the process. They have no skin in the game. So they can blow you off. They might not show up for sessions. Like, it's a cost of entry. You know what I mean?
100%.
That's all it is. I guess
I'll quickly add one last thing.
Yeah.
So see this, if you can see this, I have a guitar in my background, and that guitar is, I don't know, $2,000 guitar. When I was in college, I bought it, and I wanted to buy a $200 guitar, but my friend who's a guitarist, amazing guitarist, he said, don't buy that $200 guitar. Number one, it'll sound horrible. It'll play horribly, and you won't play it. You're going to waste $200. If you're going to want to learn, you need to put your money in something that you're going to want to play. Like if it's under $2,000 under your bed, you're not going to play it. Same thing with your investing. If you're not putting money towards something, I'll give you this, Stephen. I've literally given my coaching and my courses to people away for free. Do you know how many people actually follow through? Zero. Of the people that I give this away, zero follow through with it. I know some people might be saying, oh, yes, I would. Like, no, literally 0% of the people follow through. The people that pay me thousands of dollars to come do it, they are the ones that change their life, and they're thanking me, and they're renewing, because I'm either making them money or saving them money because of them taking action.
I had the same approach with my planning. I used to just do it for free, and I'd hoping that they would take my recommendations and things like that. But number one, if people aren't paying for it, they're not going to show up with the data that I need. They're not going to show up with the action items that I've asked them to do. They are not invested. So don't just invest in the properties, invest in yourself, put some time out there, put some energy into it, put your money where your mouth is,
On top of that, how much money do we spend on college? $50, $60, $70,000 to go to college. And then all you get is a piece of paper. Like my coaching, it's like $200 a month. $200 a month, and I give you coaching, I give you all the courses, I give you literally everything you need, and people change their life with just that. And with that $200 a month, like, you're putting that, and you're getting money right back out of it. Remember, your properties should make you $250 or more every single month. So you get in there, you buy one property, that literally pays for the course. So, and the coaching. And so all that to say, if you're going to be paying 50, 60, 70, maybe $100,000 in college, think about investing in yourself. That's I do now. I realize that I learned the hard way how not to invest, because I did it. I went through the school of hard knocks because there was nobody like this when I started. I was in 2006, no online things. Everything was so infomercially. Like, I spent like a couple $1,000 and they wanted more money out of me. It was that late night infomercial, the 2 a.m. call where they say, hey, we're coming to your town. And so all that to say, I've done it the wrong way. I'm trying to help everybody do it the right way.
I feel like people are understanding that maybe college isn't what it used to be. The experience isn't what it used to be. And unless they're not going for something very specialized, like a physician or, like an engineer, things like that, maybe there's a trade, or maybe there's a different thing you can go out and do and spend your time or money on. So I think we're all in full agreement there, because the college costs are just increasing by 5 or 6% a year. It's absurd. And, so it's just not the same like it used to be.
No, it's not. Definitely not. When I went to college, I went to Fresno State in California, and I want to say it was like $2,000 a year. So, after 4 years, it's only $8,000. It wasn't that bad. Now, I want to say it's like $50,000 to go to Fresno State. I'm like, that is just ridiculous.
He's going to the people on the board, I think. Like, where's it all going, Well, let me ask you a couple questions.
All the administration, probably. I don't know.
So, what is your relationship with money? This is a money podcast, and everybody has a different relationship with it. Why is money important to you, and what's your relationship with money?
My relationship with money is a means to an end, is really what it comes down to.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. I don't love money. I love the process, the game of making money. And I found the more people that I serve, I think I might've said this, the more people that I serve, the better my life gets, the more money I make, the more properties that I own, that I make to be a really, really good property for other people. They're going to want to live there, and they make me money. More people that I show how to invest in real estate. So the more people that I help, it helps me to make more money, but it's just a means to an end. I'll give you an example of why I realized, or how I realized it was a means to an end. So when I was 27 years old, I said, I want to quit my job. That's my goal, is to quit my job in 10 years. And I said, by 37, I'm going to quit no matter what. If I have the means to or not, I'm going to force myself to quit. I was really blessed. Praise the Lord. At 37, 1 and 2, I quit my job. I was able to quit my job, and that was my goal. But goal done, check. And then a couple of years of not having a goal, I thought, you know what? I need a goal. I need something to strive for. And then I created, I want to make $1 million a year in profit from all of my businesses. That's my goal. After about a year, maybe a year and a half, I realized this goal's I would crassly say sucks. I don't like it. Like, I'm not driven at all for this goal. I don't need the money. It'd be great to have the money. But what I did change my goal to is I want to help 1,000 people invest in real estate, because that goal eventually come monetarily. But if I help other people, then that makes my life better and their life better. But I'll give you one last thing about this. There are 4 legacies that we should strive to leave in our life and have in our life. Number 1 is our money legacy, having enough money to buy or do whatever we want. From that leads into a time legacy. We want to have enough time to do anything that we want. So we have the money to buy, the time to do. And the next thing is a relationship legacy. So money leads into time leads into relationships. We, have good relationships with our family, our friends, our children, our spouses, a relationship legacy. The last one is a service legacy. So money leads into time leads into relationships leads into serving. And I'm at that point now where I'm blessed. My money's fine, plenty of time. My relationship with my wife and my kids and everybody at my church and my family and serving people is now my goal. Being a servant to as many people as possible has been so much more rewarding than that money. The money legacy, it was great, don't get me wrong, but the service legacy is by far so much better.
So money was, again, your means to an end to be able to serve people. That's what it sounds like. I mean,
absolutely.
You're able to give back. I love it, man. It's not a typical answer that I hear, but I'm glad that you're expressing that it meant so much to you to be able to quit your job and serve others, but also make enough money to have great relationships with your cohorts, your family, your friends, all those things.
Absolutely. That's something that was very apparent to me, because nobody on their deathbed actually looks back and says, I wish I worked more. No, they're never going to say that. They're going to say, I wish I invested more in my family. I wish I did more with the relationships, helped more people. That's what it's all about. See, real estate is not about properties. It's about people. Business is not about businesses and making money. It's about people. As soon as I made that switch in my brain to go away from whatever I thought it was, a property, to making money, to starting a business, to helping people, the world literally opened up, and I had so many more opportunities to make money, because the more people that I help, the more money that I make, the more better lives their lives have.
Great point, man. Great point. Based on what you said, I mean, it sounds like you know your lasting legacy is going to be so for your businesses and what you're providing, what would you hope your lasting legacy would be in your family's eyes and in your community?
That I served until I'm dead. Like I'm literally serving and giving and helping other people to have not necessarily better lives. Better lives would be great, but also helping them as well as to be spiritually fed, as well as being ready for financial understanding and financial knowledge, like literally all around. I'm trying to help as many people to, and I like on my, like if you, it's a little bit morbid, but like if you're going to have on my tombstone, it's basically, he was a servant to as many people as possible. That's really what I would like to see.
Couldn't have had a better answer than that, at least I don't think.
Thanks.
Well, so with the last little bit we have here, tell us one more time about the conference and then where our listeners can find you.
Yeah. So the Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference, REWBCon for short, you can go to REWBCON.com, REWBCON.com, and it's all about giving. So hopefully you got a picture of that in today's talk, as well as I have a real estate investing course. I'll literally give it out for free. Do you mind if I share that, Stephen?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
So I have the real estate investing course. I'll give it to you for free. If you text the word rental, RENTAL, to 33777, rental to 33777, I'll give it to you. I'll show you how to find an area of the country to invest, how to build the business first, which means doing it right, making $250 or more in passive income from every property, how to scale your business to do whatever you want in your life. You could even go to masterpassiveincome.com/free course. All one word, masterpassiveincome.com/free course. I'll give that to you literally for free. I also have my podcast, the Master Passive Income Podcast, where it's literally just me showing how to do this. My YouTube channel as well. It's literally just me in front of the video, just saying, hey, this is how you do it, X, Y, and Z. So you can find me in all those ways.
I'll put all of those different mediums in the liner notes for the show. So listeners, if you want to go check out Dustin Heiner at Master Passive Income, you can go see all the stuff. Man, it was a pleasure having you on the show. Glad to see such a walking success in real estate and a way to kind of look at money a little bit differently. So thank you.
Thanks, Steve. And I appreciate you having me.
All right, brother. Have a good one.